Back when I was in high school, we had this art project where you would take a picture from a magazine or an ad, um, and you divide it up into these little squares, and then you would take another larger sheet of paper and you would make the same squares but in a larger scale, and then you would redraw what was each on each thing. So it was kind of like a mosaic, and when you're done, you're going to have this hand painted, scaled up version of what you started with. And I remember, not that it matters, but I remember there was this Got Milk ad with comic book Spider-Man hanging upside down that I thought, man, that's really cool. So I started working on that, and you work on it through the weeks, and it was coming along really well. But one day I remember coming in, taking my work off the drying rack from the day before, and there's a bunch of squares on there that are painted to go on there, but they're not. I didn't do them, and they're not nearly as good as what I had been doing, and I knew instantly that somebody was trying to take something that I had started and was going to finish it because they weren't getting their own work done. And you could clearly see on the picture where my work had stopped and theirs had started, because there was a clear difference in the quality of work. And I bring that up because it's a sobering example of what sometimes our life looks like when Christ has been working on a masterpiece in our lives, and he's painting something that I constantly keep trying to take over and finish, and it's not as good as what he can do. Or it's like trying to complete somebody's sentence, like, hey, I know where you're going with that, say no more, I got this. But you haven't gotten to the part where the most critical details are, and so anything that you do is going to be so far less or so far from what was originally intended. And that is sometimes in the case in our lives, where we think we know where the Lord's taking us, and so we venture down this path full bore, and it was never where he intended us to be. Or we take something that he blessed us with and we think that, oh, well, he gave me this, so I'm going to turn it into that because that's what I think. And then again, before you know it, you've got this poor representation of what Jesus had really intended to do in your life. And I'm in a season right now where we've got this awakening coming up for teens, and putting together a team and thinking like, Lord, I know what you want me to do. But at the same time, with my co-leader, we've been so trying to discipline ourselves to being obedient to the will of God, but yet we're getting into the crunch time, and we feel like we've got to step in and expedite the process. And isn't that true in our lives, where we get so anxious because we say we trust the Lord, but we trust him until we don't think we can trust him anymore, and then we just step in and take over. And it could be on a grander scale, and it can be on a scale of, well, I trust the Lord's going to help me with this problem I have today, and he didn't, so I'll take care of it. And he's never done working on us, and he's never unfaithful. And I just needed a reminder, and to verbalize this as an affirmation and as a reminder to myself and anybody who's watching this, that he is not done, and that he is trustworthy, and that we just need to be patient. patiently listening and obeying the Lord, and He will guide us when it's time to move, and He will comfort us when it's time to stay put. And we just have to trust that the work that He started, He will finish. And we don't need to do any more than what He's asking us to do, that we need to be obedient and diligent to His plans and His grand picture. And that we don't have to complete the work that He started. He doesn't just draw half of it and then say, here's the tools, go figure out the rest. No, we just have to stop and look at what He's already completed. And sometimes just sit in amazement of what else He's left to do. So, just trust in the Lord. I'm speaking to myself. I'm speaking to anybody else out there. I love you guys.